All right, Aiden, I got it open. It looks like we're going live now. Yeah, we're live now. So this means that we can do a longer video this way. We'll not be able to edit it, although I have yet to edit any of my videos, although I plan on doing that in the future. But me and Aiden will have a video out about Sam Harris. He is on record for talking about baby eating, but that is a clip that's been going around social media. It's been taken out of context. If you watch the original video, a little bit, an extra 5 seconds longer, you'll realize that he was just like having a little philosophical discussion. He's like, well, we need to talk about the uncomfortable stuff. Like he's like, let's take you to the darkest place in your mind. And I was thinking, okay, maybe Sam Harris is an innocent guy. Maybe he's just like talking about eating babies. Until I found out him, Woody Allen, Epstein, and Chomsky were hanging out at Epstein's place over in New York. And Sam Harris is like, hey, I'll come over and have dinner, but only if you do it live. I mean, only if you record the vid. We're recording live. But only if you record the dinner. Why would you want to record any freaking dinner with just a few other people? That's weird.
I don't know, they're just hosting a mukbang.
Yeah, they are. This is going to be my first day where I will not be able to upload a video before. Well, I might be able to. No, I don't have time to go over and make sure I got all the files listed in the description. I'm going to, and I've been pretty good about not skipping a day so far. So this will be like the one day I'm going to have to skip a video unless we just do this one. And I will put in a description or summary or something afterwards if I want to at all. No, I do want to. Who am I kidding? I want to put in the files. But yeah, so yeah, why would you want to record a dinner with Woody Allen and Sam Harris, who talked about eating babies in a philosophical perspective? Okay. I'm sorry, and I got a little distracted there for a second, but I'm gonna have to keep going into Sam Harris. We have to go down this rabbit hole.
All right.
Yeah.
Down the rabbit hole we go.
Down the rabbit hole. All right. Let us take a look at more of the Sam Harris because I freaking hate this website, man. This freaking website is so annoying to work with this website. Oh, and then there is supposed to be somewhere on the Epstein library, somewhere you can go and it like just lists the files and you go from page to page to page, but I haven't found that yet. And like I've said before, this is the most frustrating thing, like knowing that they're just lying to us outright. And so I don't like it. Here's another Woody Allen one between Sam Harris and Jeffrey Epstein from Jeffrey Epstein to Sam Harris. This is file EFTA 0082296. 822096. And so I'm trying to write that down so I don't forget it. But this one says they are in New York soon, dinner with Woody Allen and me. So Jeffrey Epstein is asking Sam Harris to come have dinner with Woody Allen, who is definitely a PDF file. Like that one was pretty obvious. You know the whole Woody Allen story, right?
No, I'm familiar.
Okay, he marries he marries an actress. They adopt a daughter together. Then he marries the daughter once she's of age.
Yeah, that is definitely grooming. That's just grooming with a lot of extra steps.
Yep, and unless she comes forward and says she was groomed or molested or anything like that, we are not going to get him on trial for that particular crime anytime soon. Unfortunately, a lot of the times it's like you if it's sexual assault, you need SA. I mean, you need a victim to come forth and make a statement. And then on top of that, you're going to need actual hard evidence because the Bible teaches us anything about the sort of thing is that not only do people get raped, but they also get accused of rape, as we saw with Joseph and after he was sold off to Potiphar. But you see way more rape in the Bible than you see accusations of rape. So we have from John Brockman to Jeffrey Epstein. So John Brockman, I don't know who that is. I don't think you would know. But let's take a quick look and see who this is, because he's apparently important. He is a literary agent. Okay, that makes sense, because Jeffrey Epstein would try and hook up different people to have book deals. So that could be important later on. But with that being said, John Brockman, you are going in the list. I'm going to try split screen. Hopefully, I'm going to have to try doing split screen while I'm going through the files. Maybe tomorrow. I'm going to have to just do it while I'm actually got enough free time where I can just sit down, look up stuff, copy and paste, put it over in a separate window. But we'll see if I'll try that later and see if that works even better. Okay. So according to John Brockman, the Eastover farm was a very big success. A number of press people showed up, including David Brooks of the New York Times. His column today, link, but see yourself, the first of the videos, Height, is now online. The others go up at one at a time this weekend. The New Science of Morality by an Edge seminar. Roy Bausmeister, Paul Bloom, Joshua D. Green, Jonathan Haidt, Sam Harris, Mark D. Hauser, Joshua Noam, Elizabeth Phelps, and David Pizarro will call later at the farm. And he leaves his phone number. For anyone wondering, at the time, John Brockman's phone number was 917-744-8920. It might be out of service now. We might have some fun. And then Jeffrey Epstein, he asked him how it went. I just read the follow-up to Jeffrey Epstein, asking John Brockman, how did it go? And so he's like, oh, it was a great success, blah, blah, blah.
Also, on the off chance that number is active and it is just for some rando, please don't harass him.
Oh, no, maybe we should. I think maybe we should. I think I'm at the point, man, where we need to like start telling people, go testify or remove the problem. Like we need to get on these people's butts. Otherwise, we will never get justice. Because just think about like how much the FBI's gaslit us and how little they're telling us about who these people are. I'm okay with harassing someone who knows a little bit about a pedophile and hasn't said anything.
Well, yeah, if they do know anything, then yeah, but actually, I guess I don't know enough about phone numbers and what happens, but I'm pretty sure when they get discontinued, the company reorganizes it, or
what company?
It's not.
Oh, you mean the phone number? I found a photo. This is my first one with a photo. Okay, this is EFTA 007577379, and this is the one I've got my first photo that I've ever found in any of these files, and it's of a woman. It's like a very clear picture. It's on the second page, so I'm going to read this one out. Eastover Farm, Jeffrey Epstein. This is addressing Jeffrey Epstein. It's from John Brockman. Subject is young people. Oh my goodness. Inline images. Okay, so this is interesting. I'm going to try and read this pretty close to verbatim, but I'm going to be doing it in a way that makes sense. So, from John Brockman to Jeffrey Epstein. Subject, young people. Date, Sunday, September 5th, 2010. At 1:55 and 37 seconds p.m. Inline images. Jacquette Berlin, Morality 1, Morality 2, Morality 3. All right, Eastover Farm, redacted. Jeffrey Epstein, a twofer, Jennifer Jaquette and Josh Snobe. Jaquette is very bright. She is a piece in nature this week. She has a piece in nature this week. PDF attached. Her essay in Max's book is Shame Necessary, description below. And she's also something of a wise ass. See her email. Max signed up John Nobi to do an essay for the books, description below. JB, there's his phone number, mobile, but we already told you what the phone number was. Sent from my private email account. So, she looks like a very gorgeous woman. Oh boy, here we go with the small text again. Balancing group and self-interest has never been easy as prehistoric humans grapple with cooperation, social norms developed, new emotions like empathy, shame evolved, and the human brain became more powerful to keep track of the rules and the people who followed them. Today, the industrialization increasingly replaces wilderness. We are faced with the additional challenge of balancing human interests and the interests of non-human life. But our society is so big, so consumptive, and so fast-paced that its dimensions have outgrown our brains. The only way we can keep track of cooperation in a group this size is by outsourcing some of our cognitive demands to computers. We must use computers to simulate some of the intimacy of tribal life, but we need humans to evoke the shame that led to cooperation. In a culture of godlessness, unbridled positivity, and reward for behaving selfishly, how can we rediscover and prudently use shame? Hopefully, the same feeling that once aided in our own evolutionary success can now prevent us from failing the other species in life's fabric. From Jennifer Jaquette, date September 4th, 2010, at 3:34 and 2 seconds p.m. I didn't even know I bothered with the seconds. It was to John Brockman. Subject morality is the next email popping up. Dear JB, it's a lazy Saturday. I'm finally getting around to my painfully disorganized computer desk. The benefit of keeping tens of screens open at a time is sometimes you discover real alternative outcomes as the Edgeverse evolves. Okay, it says Edgeverse. Although I want to read it as Edgyverse, basically because it's spelled EDGEIVERSE. Perhaps guilt and shame would have fit into the discussion. Hee Jennifer. Please don't regret adding me the lit. Okay, so it's, and then after it says Jennifer, it's redacted, but it says, please don't regret adding me the list. I am enjoying it all very much. Okay, so we got more pictures, and it's New Science of Morality, an Edge seminar. It's got Roy Baumister, Paul Bloom, George D. Green, Jonathan Haidt, Sam Harris, Mark D. Hauser, Joshua Knope, Elizabeth Phelps, David Pizarro. More, this is just another picture of them again and again. Like, are they changing it? Okay, it's the same group of people for the most part. Sometimes they take a person out, sometimes they add a person in, but you got that 3 times over. And then we got more stuff, more conversation about the book. All right. So nothing. Okay, so it's just a picture of the author of Morality. But she could be important because in one of our previous videos, or no, I did this one without you. Where we went down the rabbit hole of, it was Oprah. I found someone who had a book deal that went wrong. And so she admitted, the victim admitted, she's like, you promised, like, you agreed to a book deal with me and I was trafficked. So now what I'm seeing is this other lady, Jennifer Jaquette, and she's doing a book deal with them. And I wonder if she might have been one of the victims. It's hard to say. But I do like to have some speculation, although speculation is not the same as fact. Like, do you have any thoughts about what could be going on here? beyond what we just talked about?
Not a clue. I'm kind of lost in the sauce right now.
Yeah. Okay. Here's another one. It's about meditation from Deepak Chopra. And then it's got a bunch of Richard Dawkins is in here. Okay. So, there's so many names. There's so many names, and they didn't list them all initially. And then I haven't gone through all the billionaires yet. I need to go back. There's got to be some more billionaires that I'm overlooking that I don't even know the names of yet, because there's currently, I think, about 3,000 billionaires on the planet right now. There's no way you can go through all of them. Hopefully they didn't all meet Jeffrey Epstein while he was alive in some capacity. I'm really hoping this. But if you think about it, here's what's interesting. 3,000 people is not much. Like, have you ever gone to like any sort of big meet and greet where there's like a lot of people? Like, think about like all the people at your church. Like, how many people do you think are going to your church?
Well, my church isn't the best example. It's fairly small. Maybe 20 at most.
Mm-hmm. So you got 20. Well, I got like probably I'm like a mid-sized church. We're like somewhere between I would say 150 and maybe a little closer to 100, but not quite 200. I can't really. I got an image in my mind of how many people there are, but I don't think we hit 200. But imagine you're going to like a bunch of different churches and you're just meeting a whole bunch of people. Like, it doesn't take long if you are socializing to meet 3,000 people, which is why people need to be careful when it comes to pictures of people of Jeffrey Epstein, when it comes to people's names in the files, because 3,000 people, believe it or not, is not a lot. I know that nowadays people like to say they're antisocial and stuff like that. But if you think about it, where I work, I think I work with about 50 people on average per shift. And then we have 4 different shifts. So that's probably about 200 people right there. And so, no, I take it back. It's less than 50 a piece. It's got to be closer to like, but the thing is, we don't all, I won't say too much, but it's less than 50. But I think we have somewhere around maybe 150 employees total at the plant. I could be totally off on that, but I do believe it's over 100 at this point. But if you're working at different places, you know, and if you're going around, if you're in a social setting, if you're networking like Jeffrey Epstein was, and he clearly was networking a lot, that was one of his skill sets, you're going to meet 3,000 people within a matter of just a few years. So billionaires, it's very possible that he could have met all the billionaires alive today. So here's what this particular email says about the meditation. It says, after a little meditation on my flight to Zurich, it's clear we all experience reality through different cognitive filters. I'm thinking we should just celebrate our differences over wine and dinner at my apartment in New York City when it works out for all of us this summer. Please respond. Yes, no. Carolyn will help coordinate our schedules for all those who have the desire, ability, or time to join. All love. Bunch of emojis. Deepak Chopra, MD. Deepak Chopra. So we now officially have a doctor that I have found. Deepak Chopra. First doctor that I have randomly found and not like looked up. The only other one I bothered to look up because I was curious, and I've talked to you about my little theory on how Michael Jackson was killed. But the only other doctor I bothered to look up was Dr. Conrad Murray because of my little theory. But there wasn't anything to support my theory at the time. However, there's so many files for so many different people. I am still interested in looking into seeing where my little theory might go. But we're going to put that off to the side because I'll just go down a dark rabbit hole and question my sanity later. So let's see. Let us see what else we can find on Sam Harris. Unfortunately, Ben Affleck angrily defends Islam against Bill Maher. What? Wait, what? Oh, I remember seeing this. Ben Affleck. Okay, I remember seeing that one where Ben Affleck defends Islam against Bill Maher. And then Bill Maher, when it comes to Islam, he's always like, have you lived in one of these countries or something? He's always like big into like pointing out the fact that they don't actually live there. Here's another dinner with Sam Harris. This is also worded suspiciously. Okay, it's from John Brockman to Jeffrey Epstein. And then Sam Harris is like the first thing. It's like Sam Harris, his email, sam@samharris.org. Dinner, not ready for a big dinner. Still doing medical/dental maintenance and not all in the right mood, although there's no bad news. I don't know what that is. Reneck? Just arthritis. No bad news. R-E neck. Just arthritis. I don't know what that means. No bad news. R-E neck. Okay. Also, I find that I am overexposed to too much attention. Thus, for no other reason, enemies. Goal is to be quiet or a while and other than masterclass type stuff. Is this code? The subject is miscellaneous. I'm going to read the next. I'm going to read the next paragraph, and I don't see anything else too interesting other than more links. But the next paragraph is fantastic 2-page profile of Max's client, Jennifer Doudna. Oh, I know who that is. Jennifer Doudna. She created the Moderna vaccine. Using the technology she discovered alongside Emmanuel Carpentier. They're Nobel Prize winners. And she discovered CRISPR-Cas9. She's the one who discovered that gene editing technology. Well, she didn't really discover the protein itself, but she's the one who figured out could do DNA editing. She discovered that we could have DNA editing done if we use CRISPR-Cas9. And they could do some DNA editing before CRISPR-Cas9, but CRISPR-Cas9 totally changed the game. And I'm not too surprised, but I'm a little surprised at the fact that I just found her name all of a sudden. Now, have you heard about how much Jeffrey Epstein liked being around scientists?
Oh, lots. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he was pretty much at the epicenter of academic.
Mm-hmm. They think he was trying to infiltrate to get to push his own agenda in academia, something along those lines. Like, especially with depopulation.
It makes sense. Like, heck, even that's why I took an interest in video gaming, because he was hoping that he would be able to reprogram the youth's minds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm writing down. This guy says his goal is to be quiet in my little description. Yeah, he seems to have been interested in like all sorts of different technologies. I think his goal, however, was his. It's one of those things where it's kind of like Sherlock Holmes. He's trying to learn as much as possible to see what he can use. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I'm known for having a bunch of useless information until that information is no longer useless in a random setting. Biography clears out. This is not interesting. This has got nothing in here that other than maybe more names. It's got attorney for the damned John A. Farrell. So Clarence Darrow is the attorney for the damned John A. Farrell, and so I'll just put that down. But just because it's more names and there's a lot of names that no one is looking up. What's interesting is like these are big enough names where you can actually look them up and you will get a result, and that is the person, but they're small enough where nobody knows who they are. Like Sam Harris is a big enough name where if you're someone like me, I vaguely recognize it, although I haven't really paid any attention to anything Sam Harris related since college. and then a lot of these other names, not so much. Hey, okay, so this is video series. Have you heard about this? The Edge video series, HeadCon 13, What's New in Social Science. Have you heard about this, HeadCon 13?
I have not.
Because I thought maybe for a second, with the con in the name, this is just one of those. This is one of those ones where I don't. Excuse me. I don't think there's anything noteworthy in here. But, shoot, you never know. It's one of those things where you can go back, where it's like, let's say I'm writing an email about a grocery list. Let's say I'm typing up an email to myself because I'll be weird that way, like these people in the files, where I'm writing a grocery list to myself in an email. And I send it to myself, and it's at a certain point in time of day. Well, now I know what I had in the fridge for about a week. I also know what I have a rough idea of what I was doing that day. If I ever need to go to court, and it's like, where were you on September 27th? It's like, oh, well, I made an email to myself to go grocery shopping, and I always grocery shop immediately after I email myself a grocery list. So all this stuff could be useful in the right context. I found a list. This is no ordinary list. This is an important list. Out of town. Jeff Bezos is out of town. This is an invitation list. So for anyone listening, no one's listening right now. Last time I checked, let me double check. No one is currently listening right now, but in the future, if anyone is listening, this particular email is EFTA 020400138. So let me write that down because this one looks important. So here's the invitation list. Aiden, are you ready? Just feel free to interrupt if you hear any interesting names. I don't recognize hardly any of these. So if you I know you're probably not going to recognize any of them either. But if you can recognize any of them, let me know. So here we go. John Brockman, he's the only guy I've seen so far that I'm familiar with because we just learned about him, and he works in literary. He's a literary agent. Anyways, Katinka Matson, Max Brockman. I'm guessing he's related to John Brockman somehow. Jenny Rips, Adam Bly, Aya Bidir, Steffi Sinzerni, Freeman Dyson, Jeffrey Epstein. So this is interesting. So this is not a list for Jeffrey Epstein, unless he's like, oh yeah, just put me on the invitation list with everyone else. Daniel Kahneman, Anne Tressman, Eric Kandel, Judith Katz, Adrian Cray, Jean Pigozzi, maybe Moses Pendleton. Hang on. I think one of my dogs just threw up. Well, I can't see it, so no, you go away. Not right now. Okay, so Jean Pigozzi is our first maybe, and then we go on to Moses Pendleton, Cynthia Quinn, Jackie Safra, Jean Dominian, Dimitar Sasolov, Frank Schirmacher, maybe, David Shipley, Lee Schmolin, Richard Thaler, Franz Leclerc, Robert Trivers, Katie Weir, maybe, Naomi Wolf. I know the name Naomi Wolf. I'm not too sure from where. Let me look that one up really quickly. So we got 28 people total on the first part of the list. Then we got a waiting response and out of town. So this is like a confirmation list, guest list for who's going to be somewhere. So Naomi Wolf is an author. Probably knows Brock. If I really wanted to, I could probably do you've seen the webs. You've seen the conspiracy theorist meme where it's just a guy with a bunch of yarn on the wall, right? And he looks crazy. And now that all this stuff has been leaked out to the public, he doesn't look so crazy. You know that picture? You know the one I'm talking about?
Maybe.
It's been memed the heck out of it. Because now I'm wondering if I should do that, because I'm like, what if Naomi Wolf is somehow with, like, she knows John Brockman, like, what if he's the one that, and what if John Brockman is the one who helped Naomi Wolf get her book published? And speaking of book publishing, she wrote Trump floats friendly takeover of Cuba, Trump's surprising comments about a possible friendly takeover of Cuba. So, oh wait, no, that's not the name of the book. Let me find notable works: The Beauty Myth, The End of America, Misconceptions, Fire with Fire, and Outrages. Okay, so she's like one of the okay, she's a feminist author, journalist, and conspiracy theorist. Wait a minute. Okay, we got to talk about that one. Oh, she's also written one called The Pfizer Papers. I don't know. I can't trust her on this. I can't trust her on anything because how did she know? How come she's hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein if they're arranging all these freaking book deals? And what else? Okay. The Beauty Myth and this Naomi Wolf. I definitely know this name, and I'm wondering. She's a conspiracy theorist, so is she? I don't think she's a spy, though. I think she actually was like. What are the odds a conspiracy theorist is right in there with the conspiracy, and she's not writing anything about it? Right? Or at least not in recent years, not that I can tell, because her most recent ones are the Pfizer Papers back in 2024 and The End of America 2007, The Beauty Myth 2015. Okay, I want to see Promiscuity is a secret struggle for womanhood. I had to click on it for the whole thing to pop up. I don't think. If you're a conspiracy theorist, you think you would get on the biggest conspiracy of all time. Speaking of which, everyone owes Alex Jones a huge apology. A huge apology is owed to Alex Jones because so far that guy has been spitting facts and having his conspiracy theories proven right like a prophet. And there's more. So I want to go back to the list. There's more. So awaiting the response is Ellen Burstyn, Massimo / Tamara Gaggi, Brian Greene / Tracy Day, Elaine Pagels, Clay Shirky, Sean Parker, and then out of town is Jeff Bezos. So technically Jeff Bezos is in the file. I know some people said he wasn't, but he is technically in the files. Although he was invited to something that Jeffrey Epstein was also apparently invited to. So that could literally mean nothing. After Jeff Bezos, in terms of out of town, is Larry Brilliant, Sergey Brin / Ann Wojcicki. I've definitely seen those names earlier, and I do remember that we brought them up in other files. Jason Calacanis / Jade Lee Calacanis, Nicholas Carr, Jerry Coyne. I want to say Coyne, Coyne. Richard Dawkins / Layla Ward, Daniel C. Dennett, Sue Dennett, George Dyson, Murray Glelman, Harry Gitz, Alan Goof, Salar Kamangar, Kevin Kelly, Jaron Lanier, Andre Lindy, Seth Lloyd, Marvin Minsky / Gloria Rudish, Nathan Meyerthroyd, Jack Nicholson, Hans Ulrich Orbitz, Brits Savante Pablo, Larry Page / Lucy Page Southworth, Lori Park, V.S. Ranchaman, Charles Seminoy. Yeah, I know this. Should I keep going? Because is this gonna get old?
It might be getting a bit old. I'm kind of zoning out.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see if there's any other recognizable names. So people who declined, Sam Harris was on the group of people who declined. Ian McEwan. I know that one too. Oh, then there's Rebecca Goldstein. I know. That one sounds familiar too. Rebecca Goldstein sounds very familiar. Let's see. I want to try and see who Ian McEwan is. The British novelist and screenwriter. Yes, that okay. I heard about him from a movie. I know that he has done some sort of movie. Let's see. Wait a minute. He was listed as the Daily Telegraph. This is Wikipedia, by the way. Ranked him number 19 out of the 100 most powerful people in British culture. Okay. And apparently Annalena McAfee is his wife. But what did he work on? Career. Because I know he sounds familiar. And I can't find anything that I recognize him from yet. I wish they had a list for him too. Make my life so much easier. But I know I've heard of this guy before. So I'm trying to figure out why and how I found out, like where I heard about him before, but I guess it doesn't matter. Rebecca Goldstein. Let's see what she's known for, because that sounds familiar too. And I know it's technically not fair, but I'm selecting only random people, but there's so many people to go through. I have to pick some way, shape, or form, and if I'm gonna have a channel, I might as well just pick my favorite people in the group. Okay, interesting. She wrote, author of 36 Arguments for the Existence of God. But the one of the YouTube videos that pops up it's titled "Are God and Nature the Same?" or at least the thumbnail says that. So she is a philosopher and novelist. I don't think she is actually associated with any particular religion. She's Jewish, obviously, with that last name, but she's won the National Jewish Book Award. So maybe she's just Jewish, and that's why she wrote it. The Jewish. Maybe she's, close cousin of Epstein's. Maybe she knew nothing. And there's nobody else that I recognize. Very, very long list. We got over 50 people on who was invited, who declined, who was out of town, who was local. Let's see. Did Sam Harris have any more parties with Jeffrey Epstein? Let's find out. I have to go down this rabbit hole now. After he made that baby eating comment, and he says he wants to record the dinner. Wait a minute. What's this? Oh. Dear friend, okay, this is from Gregory Brown to undisclosed recipients. That's always fun. Dear friend, why do Americans hate beheadings but love drone killings? This one I think I've actually stumbled upon this particular file before, and I'm now opening up again either as a duplicate because of all the different names, or because this particular article which looks like he actually might have written this whole thing up by himself. But I'm wondering if this is like the same one I saw earlier. So it's like, why do Americans hate beheadings but love drone killings? I don't know, Gregory. Maybe it's because we don't have to worry about seeing it as much. So let's see where Sam Harris is in this. Ben Affleck angrily defends Islam against Bill Maher and Sam Harris. Well, that's a losing battle if you got both Bill Maher and Bill Maher / Sam Harris. So maybe it was both of them, but I think Sam Harris was going up against Ben Affleck with Bill Maher. So with that being said, I do remember seeing that at one point. And if you got those two going up against you, and they're defending like they're going against Islam, and you're trying to defend Islam, you're not gonna have a good time, at least not from a Western perspective. And that's literally why he's completely. That's the main reason why Sam Harris is mentioned. And then they're claiming Sam Harris is racist because of his statement about Islam, even though Islam is religion, is not a race. And that's pretty much it. There is a file. There's a picture in here that is redacted. I don't know why. But you do see, like, okay, it does look a little bit like Donald Trump's face. I'm not going to lie. Like, you see the ear and a little bit of hair popping out, and it's kind of like the right shade, the right volume for it, where it could potentially be Donald Trump. I don't. The ear looks a little off. You see a little bit of the ear, though. So I don't know. Why can't they just put the whole thing right over the face so you don't see anything? In an age where it is fashionable to say that the government is bad, it is bad. Are you just lying to our faces at this point? They say the government is bad. For a stronger economy, there should be less government oversight and interference. I wish I had something more interesting to say than what are you just lying straight to our face. Is there anything better to say than what are you just lying straight to our face at this point? Because I thought this is an email that wasn't intended for us. So it's like, it is bad. What are you talking about? You are a part of that group. You're the baddies. Tens of millions of... Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any comment that you're going to make? Because
no comments.
Okay. I'm looking through, talking about all the different... it's talking about different terrorist groups now. Why are they doing that? I don't know. It doesn't say anything about who the guy in the picture is. Again, pardon my French. I can't tell because there's nothing indicating who it is before or after. They're talking about 1984, the book, Jeffrey Holder. I've never heard of Jeffrey Holder. Apparently, it was a guy who passed away, I guess. Looks like an obituary. What would he do? Because I'm now trying to figure out who this guy is. Jeffrey Lamont Holder was a Trinidadian actor. Oh, choreographer, director, dancer, painter, costume designer, singer, and voiceover artist. Okay. This is like just one really big, long article, and I am not seeing anything interesting. And he's just talking about ISIS and Al-Qaeda, debunking the myth that the rise of ISIS is Obama's fault, myth that Senator John McCain met with ISIS. Talking about America having more low-paying jobs than any other developed country. Okay, in terms of percentage. Okay, I was worried that they were doing it by numbers because I'm like, we'll have more people. Oh, look. Photograph of a rhinoceros because they're going extinct. So this is Ebola virus. Okay, they talk about the Ebola virus in this. Influenza, norovirus. Really weird dancing sequence where they're making pictures out of their own bodies, and it's the first one's a camel with a palm tree. The second one it's the word calm, and they're using their bodies to make the imagery to look like that. Britain's Got Talent stuff. So this is literally just a bunch of news. Okay, well, that was semi-boring. And I really want to see Chomsky. What have you been up to? I'm going to keep trying to scroll, see if I can find anything else that could be potentially suspicious on Sam Harris. But he did meet up with Epstein. Like, based off of everything I just read and the video we did earlier, he looks like he is a friend of Epstein's, although he doesn't look like an exceptionally close friend. And here we keep going. Wednesday's Guy Brockman. I don't know. Maybe I should just start looking at muffins now and start reading about muffins, because that's the nasty stuff. But I don't know. Because so many people are being overlooked and no one is talking about it. But Sam Harris, and now between the baby eating and him being mentioned in here, it's not a good look on him. What do you think? So I couldn't find anything. I just literally skimmed through all the descriptions. I couldn't find anything else beyond those few emails about having dinner where he might be doing anything condemning, you know? Do you think he's a baby eater? I don't know. I'm very much on the fence.
He's a baby eater. And you haven't found anything?
No, I didn't find anything. Like, it was a philosophical argument he made, and then everyone's been taking that clip out of context.
I don't think he would be a baby eater, mainly because, like, I think that they do sacrifice children. Like, there's no doubt about that. I just don't think that they're eating them, because it doesn't make sense unless they have some sort of means to digest them properly, you know?
I've heard that argument. I think you can actually eat babies without having to worry about any digestive problems. I think that's a myth that everyone's been spreading around. Oh, and by the way, okay, I just tried looking at Moloch, because they've been saying that there's this Hillary Clinton file going around saying she's about to sacrifice a chicken, the god Moloch. I just used both writings of the name, and I literally could not find it. So I don't think she did, but then she was accused of redacting like 30,000 emails. So that could be why that's no longer in there. Who knows? Dang. Let me think. What else? What if I just put in child sacrifice? I wonder what would happen. What do you think is going to happen?
Child sacrifice?
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Yeah, if I put it in the search engine and look it up under the Jeffrey Epstein files.
All right, yeah, this is definitely interesting. I can't imagine, like, they couldn't possibly be honest about it, right?
No, because they're gonna use code for that. Because we already knew they were using pizza, they're using muffins, they use coconuts. The food is so obvious in our face.
Yeah, so probably you'd get nothing.
I got one. It is EFTA 011 16 46-8. And this is in the Circuit of Court of the 17th Judicial Circuit in and for Broward County, Florida. So this one is what popped up when I put in child sacrifice. And we're going to see why that is, because I don't have anything as of yet. But if you just put in child sacrifice into the Jeffrey Epstein file search engine, and this is a long 91-page file. And I don't know these people's names. There's somebody called Paul G. Caswell, Bradley J. Edwards, and they are the plaintiffs. And they are in opposition to Dershowitz motion to compel production of documents and complete responses to interrogatories. That's a word I've never seen before. Okay, learning something new every day. My speech patterns. I've noticed that today I was doing, even though I'm tired, I haven't been stumbling over my words as much, so yay me. I might finally be on Tim Pool's level after a few weeks of doing this, which, by the way, Tim Pool seems to think Donald Trump is innocent, and I don't think he is.
Yeah, there's no way that he's innocent at this point. Like,
well, yeah, continue.
Like, I wanted to believe that he's innocent, but the problem is there's no evidence. And if he was an FBI informant, then it's like, you'd think that Trump would, find the CIA agent and either, get him out there to tell him, what's what, or, like, it just doesn't add up. Like, if Trump really was...
If he was honest.
Yeah, if he was honest, then...
What does he have to hide? Why is he ignoring the Jeffrey Epstein files? And then it just looks like he just said he was going to release them in order to get elected. Well, why is it so important to get elected in the first place? And it's weird because 2016, I remember when they had this bumper sticker, and I'll never forget this bumper sticker, especially now with all these files out. This bumper sticker said, "Everyone sucks, 2016." And now that it's the great year, 10 years later, 2026, that bumper sticker foretold the future probably better than anyone else. And it was just about who was running 2016, because both Hillary and Trump, they both are in these files, and they both have dirt on them in these files. Now, here's where I only found mention of child sacrifice once. It's on page 84 in this particular file. Here's what it says. It's from Stacey Bridges, and it sounds like she is asking a question. Nope. This. Okay, Stacey Bridges, this is a tweet, I think. But I can tell that it is it's on some sort of social media platform. I'm guessing X, formerly known as Twitter. It says, "Isn't Jeffrey Epstein friends with Woody Allen, Bill Clinton, and Prince Andrew? If they are not friends, they have been photographed with Jeffrey Epstein at one of his parties on his island. This is satanic debauchery in the name of sex, greed, and child sacrifice, pure evil. Even worse when these people pretend to care about you. These are demons walking on earth." Now, here's what it says about this one. Also mentions the Clintons. Peg knew, "I feel really bad for this young lady. However, this story will be buried now that Bill Clinton's name has been tied to it." Yeah, that does seem to happen with anyone who says anything negative against the Clintons. "You seem to be infatuated with Clinton because all your comments have his name in it. WTF does he have to do with this?" This is from Just Me 4. And then Ella Pros replies to him, "I believe that ROL." Do you know what ROL stands? Right? I don't know what ROL is off the top of my head.
Is it IRL?
No, it's not IRL. It's ROL.
It's right.
I don't know what ROL. It says rate online. What? That can't be right.
Rate online.
Rate online. That makes no sense to me because it's supposed to be an insurance term. That there is no real. Okay, it might mean rule of law or ray of light. So it says right now, I believe ROL has mentioned that Clinton was a visitor to the island that Epstein owned. I do want to go through the flight logs, even though they look confusing. But that is, they're 9 pages. I got to look through it. Very long. Actually, no, it's not 9 pages. It's 9 separate files, if I remember correctly. Anyways, continuing. So this Peg new character is running with it and claiming that since he was on the island, he was one of the individuals that was involved in the shenanigans. I'm sure Epstein had many guests that weren't involved in any way to maintain some sort of profile amongst investors and the like. And yet, I don't think the diary has referenced anyone but Epstein, Maxwell, and Prince Andrew, although honestly, it doesn't sound like a diary that she kept when she was 15 or 17, the way she is framing things. Doesn't sound like the way that a teenager would frame them. I suspect if it's a legitimate diary, that it's something she started well after. Maybe she had a therapist years later that asked that she do a journal to help with her treatment or something. That is actually something I hear about therapists recommending to their patients a lot, is to go ahead and keep a journal, and then that helps them process certain things. So I can totally see that, and it could be on, like, old stuff, new stuff, if I remember correctly. Anyways, continuing. Or maybe she decided to put together a journal she can release a tell-all book. I don't know, but that's my take on it. And Spotted Giraffe replies, did they know her age? Radar didn't even bother addressing that. I haven't been following the story. Did he rape anyone else? Wise Joe says Becky must be out of her mind. She obviously wanted it. Dang. That's a... Dang. But anyways, this is all... Yeah, this is looking like it's all Twitter. Oh, okay. So this is like all for... This is all for an exhibit at a trial. And I don't understand why this particular thread of tweets was considered worthwhile. So I'm going to go back up to the top. Oh, it's pictures. Okay, I'm not going to mention. If you guys want to read this, you can go to the file EFTA 0111 yeah, 6468. There's 3 ones. Then 6468. My bad. I'm just gonna repeat myself again. EFTA 01116468. Anyways, it's got sections of her diary posted to Twitter. I am not going to read that. Oh, this is about... she had a chance meeting with Epstein in the spot. Donald Trump's luxury Palm Beach, Florida at Mar-a-Lago changed her life forever. I've heard about this girl, and they think that this might be why they had a falling out. Trump had a falling out with Epstein because I've heard that Trump likes to protect his people, and so like he took advantage of one of his people, and then he got upset. Like Trump got upset and kicked Epstein out, although there's evidence that they continue to communicate afterwards, is what I've heard. Haven't seen it, not too sure, and I don't think we're ever going to get the full truth on a lot of these people. We need to have at least a few heads roll in order to keep this from happening again, because otherwise we're just going to keep doing it. If there's no consequences, somebody's got to go. Someone has to go to jail, and not the nice jail. But more ideally, we have a public execution. Like that, I don't see how else we do this, because if you choose the prison sentence, did you know people can access their money from inside prison? There's ways to do it. So if you have tons of money, you can have a really nice time in prison. So anyways, and that's if you get to, like, even if you get to one lower, like one of the less desirable prisons, you're still gonna have a much better time than everyone else if you have money. Then if you go to a high-end prison, it's basically like, it's almost like a luxury spa from what I've heard. Okay, this is more stuff, but I'm trying to figure out where it starts. Okay, it starts on page 76, and it does say some pretty gross things. But this would be, okay, so this would be, her diary would be considered a primary document. So this is a primary source. In other words, like, this is something that would be brought to court, and the only thing that would be contested about it is she lying in her journal? Or I don't remember if they call it a journal or a diary. I guess it doesn't matter, but is she lying in her journal, and when did she write it? Like, those are the two things that are going to be contested the most. But that is admissible in court. Oh boy. Yeah, okay, so I I know I've heard about this girl because this is a very familiar story. Oh. This is okay. This is people accusing her of being dumb because she didn't go immediately to the police, and then her dad's dropping her off and not checking it out. Dang, people are really dense. Okay, if this shouldn't have to be said, but if you have sexual relations with a minor, that is rape. A minor cannot consent to sex. So, yeah, finally, someone's talking sense. Basically saying that. And yeah, it's a lot of people. Man, I'm so glad I'm not on Twitter. I'm so glad I never got into Twitter because, man, I thought Instagram was bad. These people are just flat out the lowest. Like here's Instagram. Instagram is like the top of the garbage bin. And then Twitter, I don't know what the bottom of the garbage bin is. It must be somewhere in Telegram because Telegram doesn't have the censorship that other social media has. And that's caused a lot of issues. So Telegram, even though it has its purposes, is probably close to the bottom. But you got Instagram just barely out of the trash can, and then you got the first thing you see in the trash can is Twitter, or now known as X. Dang. They're freaking... Dang. These people... Why is this all... Why is everyone's commentary, like, put in here? They might... If it's a lawsuit, it might be for emotional damage. So I'm gonna have to go back up, see if it's for emotional damage. And that could be why they're presenting it, to show that it was emotional damage and how it ruined her reputation. But now I'm seeing the exchange and the inside edition of this. I'm not seeing anything, but that freaking journal, if she was 15, definitely a minor. There is no age of consent younger than, I think the youngest in the States right now is 16 in one of the states. But I could be wrong. They might have changed it. Let's see. It is 16 years old, which is the standard majority of states. What? Approximately 31. What? No, that's not right. Lowest general age of consent in the United States is 16 years. And then that is for Alabama, Alaska, Florida, Ohio. And then you also have Romeo and Juliet laws on top of that, which basically means that if you knew the person beforehand. Nope, it is 16 in 31 states. I just looked up a picture of the map of where age of consent is 16. That was the first few states I listed. That's not all of them. Dang. Oh my goodness. Did they lower? I thought the age of consent in Washington State was 17. It's not. It's 16. Did you know the age of consent in Washington State is currently 16?
I did not know that.
Yeah, Texas has got them beat. It's 17. And what's interesting is all the surrounding states around Washington, Idaho, Oregon, California, even freaking Utah and Arizona. Utah being a very religious state, I thought they would have had it like lower. Their age of consent is 18. And then Nevada is 16. It's okay. This is very interesting from a cultural context. And Florida, actually, their age of consent is 18. But I'm going off of what Wikipedia says with their picture. Wow. Okay. That's a little bit concerning. I think it should be raised. I don't think it should be 16. Because my understanding is like once that basically means that you can have jurisdiction is, yeah, the age at which one can consent to anyone older. Literally, so if you're 16 in 31 of the states, you could have sex with like a 50-year-old, and that's legal in Washington State, according to Wikipedia. Holy crap! Yeah, dang. Can you imagine? I wasn't stupid at 16, but dang, did I know people who were? You know. Anyways, I left that file behind for now. Do you think Cappy might be in here? Like the people who were actually exposing them? Because Cappy was the one who really was trying to. No, he's not in here. Not under the name Cappy. Cappy was trying to expose a lot of the pedophiles in Hollywood. Isaac Cappy, he is not in there at all. Like, not even mentioned in passing. I wonder if Tom Hanks might have gone to the island. Let's see. Because Cappy was talking about Tom Hanks. So Tom Hanks has 45 results. And I'm not seeing anything where he is talking to Epstein or anything like that. Could still be in there. This is just like the first page. What was the video you sent me about earlier? What was that one about? Again.
Which video?
The short one. The short one with the Asmongold covered.
Yeah, that was specifically, I want to say it was an FBI agent who was working on the Epstein case.
Yeah.
And basically he was pointing out where he was a Jewish spy, and then it was compared to Epstein's lawyer, who said that if Epstein was a Jewish spy, he would be able to get him out easily.
Mm-hmm.
And he wouldn't suffer any legal consequences.
He has all these ties to Israel, and everyone is insisting that he is a Russian spy. What? What's going on with that? Why is he a Russian spy when it clearly is a link to Israel? They just think we're all dumb now. And unfortunately, it was like Zaffi said, it's like, unfortunately, people are giving them reason to believe that. I'm not seeing anything. Okay, I'm not seeing anything that makes me want to click on any of these Tom Hanks files. Maybe Tom Hanks is a pedophile. Cappy did try to say some stuff. Maybe they got his stuff out of here, but so far I didn't see anything worthwhile about Tom Hanks that was worth looking into, that suggested anything. Now I want to see if Donald Trump has any. I'm gonna stop after this because I'm just like going through everything. Bro, they did it. They removed some of his files. I think they removed them. And let me just double check, make sure I'm not getting his files mixed up with somebody else. Hang on. I remember him having over 2,000, but I could be wrong. Actually, maybe it was less than 2,000. Let's see. First, I gotta save it. Let me double check here. Now, where is it? And right here, let me find it. Oh man, we still haven't done one on the. Sometime soon, we got to do the one on the 23andMe Sultan. Oh wait, or no, we did do that. Oh, okay, never mind. I was wrong. It was 1,750 results. Same amount. Let me go back. It's Nothing interesting. Nothing interesting. Actually, no. Complainant said, oh, I remember this one. This one is basically a file with another huge list of accusations and who committed the crimes. So, I'm going to go through this one. This is EFTA 01660679. So, let me see who this is from. It's all, everything's redacted. In terms of like who's sending, who's forwarding. So, thank you, redacted, Special Agent, Child Exploitation, Human Trafficking Force, Federal Bureau of Investigation. You got enough energy to go through this one?
I might.
Oh, it's only 6 pages.
6 pages, all right, then let's go.
All right, here we go. Complaint summary. Reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform oral sex on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told redacted probably she was approximately 13, 14 years old when this occurred. The friend allegedly bit Donald Trump while performing oral sex. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting Donald Trump. The friend said she was also abused by Epstein. So that's the complaint. The summary is spoke with caller who identified redacted as friend. Lead was sent to Washington office to conduct interview. Criminal history has been completely redacted, so there's a criminal history. Then we got another complaint summary. Reported she had a friend who was a personal assistant to Epstein in Florida from 1986 to 1991 or 92. This friend shared names of some of the guests at Epstein's parties, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Response: 2 voicemails left, no response. Next one. At age 16, while modeling, caller attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, caller reported she was sexually assaulted by Epstein. On another occasion, 2 twin brothers, Alan and Orrin, I've heard about these guys, lured caller and her friend upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. Caller stated Orrin raped her best friend and a third brother, Tal, raped a 14-year-old girl named Redacted. Caller named other individuals in big orgy parties with her, other young girls, and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. That'd be, just imagine, like, Bill looks over at Donald, like, while Donald's campaigning against his wife back in 2016, and Donald's looking at Bill. Bill's looking at Donald, and they have that look in their eyes like, we do not talk about the orgies, no matter what. We can never speak about the orgies. Online complainant reported she was a victim and witnessed a sex trafficking ring at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes, in California, between 95 and 96. Complainant reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and broker for sex parties. Clients who included Epstein, Robin Leach, and Donald Trump. Complainant reported participating in orgies, that some girls were missing, rumored to have been murdered and buried in the facility. Complainant reported being threatened by Trump, then head of security of that, if she ever talked about what went on there or who she saw. He would end up as fertilizer for the back of 9 holes, like the other. Okay, I'm not going to say that word. And then the response was complainant was spoken to and deemed not credible. Additional research showed 3 separate redacted. I don't know how much I trust this stuff, because the FBI is now like the one going into it, and we know who's in charge of the FBI. Now, this particular file was made back in 2025, August 7th, 2025. And at that point, of course, Trump was in office. So I don't know if I trust this. So here we go. Continuing on. Complainant claims to have a video of high-profile sex parties, dealings with cartels, and having witnessed Robert Leach strangle a young girl to death at a party. I want to look up this Robin Leach, because I wonder what his history is. He's a British American entertainment reporter. Of course, it's this. Okay, remember what I said, where it's like the reporters, the ones messing around with everybody, the ones who are constantly lying about everyone else. It makes sense to me that they are the ones doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see if they got any. Okay. He died back in 2018. I can't find anything about anything. He posted an expose documentary of Madonna for Fox News Network in March '93. It was a biography of Madonna. This is Wikipedia, by the way. I'm not gonna include Wikipedia because, first off, not a primary source, not all that credible. I mean, they did a study on Wikipedia. They found that it has like fewer errors than the Webster dictionary, something like that. But at the same time, it's not considered a credible source because it's not a primary source. With that being said, continuing. The documentary was a biography of Madonna, focusing on her career and publicity stunt. Before the documentary aired, he gave Madonna a cell phone number. He said that at any point during the airing, Madonna could call Leach and argue any point. Why didn't he show her the biography before running it? Like, I get this was back in the 90s, but you could have shown it to her. You could have done it the right way. Yeah, this is just he's kind of like one of those scandal kind of guys where he feasts off the scandal. Okay. So he's accused of strangling a young girl to death at a party. Continuing, claims. Okay, the next accusation is claims he was contacted by a female victim of Epstein's who wants to publish a book. Complainant provided background for himself, such as working with prominent figures such as Leslie Wexner and Epstein, being pardoned by a U.S. president, along with several other pieces of information. The victim reportedly knew about criminal activity that occurred in multiple states and on airplanes, and told the complainant there were films of prominent men such as Epstein, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and that Ghislaine Maxwell is in the videos as well. And then it says for response, no probative information. Okay, there we go. Complainant reported meeting a Lisa Villeneuve at a hospital when they were roommates in 2000, who now goes by Ghislaine Lisa Villeneuve. Okay, Ghislaine Lisa Villeneuve. Complainant was invited by Villeneuve at a party in Palm Beach Island, Florida, to a residence she believes to have belonged to Epstein. She met a model scout named Bobby Cox, whom Villeneuve allegedly referred to as a pimp. Complainant stated that Villeneuve spoke with a hostess at the residence, whom the complainant believed to be Ghislaine Maxwell. While at this party, complainant stated that they had all been invited by Donald Trump to a party at Mar-a-Lago. Complainant Villeneuve she wanted to go to that party was allegedly told by Villeneuve it was for prostitutes. When complainant was 14 years old, Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly approached her about modeling, international travel, and massages. Complainant never reached out to Maxwell because the offer sounded as if it was mostly based around modeling, which complainant was unable to do because of a blank. Complainant made a podcast of her story about her encounter with Ghislaine Maxwell when she was approximately 14, 15 years old. In response, spoken with twice. First, said she was a Pilates instructor and went to Epstein's once. Second time, called the royal family, was contacting her about image of Prince Andrews and blank. Claimed she would send email to corroborate. No email received. Maybe she's just taking her time. I don't know. Another one. Complainant reported his ex-girlfriends blank were victims of Epstein's and one was murdered. While working as a limousine driver, complainant recalled picking up Donald Trump in 95 to take him to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. During that ride, complainant recalled some of the things Trump spoke about on his cell phone were very concerning, describing being a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying. Complainant noticed Trump repeatedly stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone. One of the complainant's ex-girlfriend, Blank, told complainant Trump raped her, as did Epstein. And then the response is supposed to be, its voicemail was left, no response. Another one, caller talking about crimes committed against her. She claims she was a prisoner. She references Lisa Marie Presley, the British royal family, President Trump, and Jeffrey Epstein. No contact made. Lives in Australia. Called Sydney hotline, not NTOC. I don't know what NTOC is. That's interesting that Lisa Marie Presley is in here. Elvis's daughter. I wonder what the heck is she doing in here? Because she's not. She doesn't strike me as someone who did anything nefarious. Next statement. Complainant reported her neighbor sought modeling gigs at the Trump agency in New York City between years of 98 and 2000. Complainant reported neighbor allegedly went on cruise ships set up by a recruiter ahead of agency once. Showed complainant a photo of the recruiter whom complainant recalled looking like Epstein. Complainant reported neighbor was allegedly raped several times during this time period. Okay, then it says contact was made to this person, but no contact information provided for actual victims. Next complaint. Next accusation. Caller provided information to reference prior civil case 13 years ago that involved Trump and mentioned Epstein with a minor. And then it says no contact made. Call Sydney hotline, not NTOC. Oh boy. 13-year-old stuff. Oh boy. No contact made. Now I'm trying to see if there's anyone where if there is anyone who is, in terms of like the response, if they thought anyone was like actually doing something. Let's see what they say about in terms of the FBI response. Although I don't, like I said, I don't trust the FBI at this point. Oh, look, it's just basically the same thing repeated over again. Because okay, so interesting. They repeat basically the allegation twice, and then they follow up the allegation with a response in the following email. So I'm going to keep going because I'm almost done to the end of all the allegations. These actually no, not as far down as I was hoping. Lisa Marie Presley, we already did that one. Trump off a 13-year-old minor. And okay, here we go. Complainant following up her call with NYPD officer regarding her previous tip, reporting that she was forced to perform sex acts when she was 13 years old and pregnant in 1984. Complainant also reported there were high-profile individuals involved in her sex trafficking, the murder and disposal of her newborn daughter. Okay. Complainant reported Donald Trump participated regularly in paying money to force her to perform sex acts with him, and alleged Trump was present with her when her uncle murdered her newborn child. Okay, that's the most salacious one I've read so far in all of the files. That's the first one, where the baby's actually killed. And then they say that they didn't even bother to contact this person. This person wasn't even contacted. Next accusation. Caller was taken by boat to Epstein's Island. Caller said it was complicated and involved Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. It'll take me forever to finally start saying her name right, but she's a PDF file or whatever, and I don't think anyone cares. Caller became a school counselor and had a meeting with the school principal, Linda Kitts, and a police officer where the caller was informed that there were pictures of herself with Epstein. Caller reported the school was mad at her for not being a Trump person and that the school wanted her to testify and say things against Andrew Cuomo. The FBI and Donald Trump were on the phone during the meeting. Caller believes the FBI has baby pictures of her with Epstein. And then it says, no contact made. Previous tips indicated blank had called in and said she was chemically induced amnesia and struggled with knowing what was a dream and reality. I doubt that. I've never. You'll have a dream, where it feels real, but I don't know that there's too many people out there who have dreams of being sexually assaulted. Right?
Yeah.
Let's see. It's just, actually, no. What I just read, like, caller was saying about, it was complicated. She doesn't explicitly say, though, that it was sexual assault. She was taken to the island. But did they leave something out? I don't know. She does not explicitly state, though, that she was sexually assaulted, but she was taken to Epstein's island. Next one. The caller reported that in 1987, a friend was out drinking and ended up at the Trump Plaza. Victim 1 saw Donald Trump and wanted to meet him. An unknown man approached her and offered to introduce her to Trump, and the unknown man gave the victim a drink, and Victim 1 woke up naked and sore with $300 in the bed. Victim 1 didn't remember how she got to the room. She remembered seeing a flash of Trump's face. Victim 1 called the caller and told her she thought she had been raped. Victim 1 did not go to a hospital to have a rape kit performed because she didn't think anyone would believe her, especially because she was drunk. Victim 1's husband's business had problems with suppliers, so they're trying to cast blame on. It sounds like they might be trying to cast blame on her wanting money, like that she wants money because her husband's business is having issues. Anyways, Victim 1's husband's business had problems with suppliers, and Victim 1 believed Trump was behind it. Victim 1 also started dating a lawyer, identified as unknown, who was married. Victim 1 had a fight with her lawyer boyfriend and went to a bar. Victim 1 left the bar with a man with no one in the bar recognized, but who seemed familiar with Victim 1. Victim 1 was never seen again a few years ago. Remains were discovered that matched the description of what Victim 1 was wearing when she went missing. DNA tests at the time were inconclusive. Funny how a lot of these people tend to go missing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it says no contact was made. Victim identified is deceased, and complainant did not have confirmed information. That is very convenient for a lot of people that she is no longer around. Next one. In 2004-2005, Sir Evan Wilzig hosted a party where Jeffrey Epstein, Sammy Sosa, and Donald Trump were in attendance. Patti LaBelle's PR agent stood at the door. At the party, the caller met an individual who was approximately 18 to a modeling job, but then sold to a man in France. Several women were being auctioned, and a woman possibly known as Colette L&U was the madame. A couple of years later, caller saw Colette in the Cheetah Club in New York, and she is one of the blank friends that Jamie Foxx was interested in spending the night with her, and that he could pay her a lot of money. And then it says the response's phone number provided was bad, could not identify a valid number. Okay, Jamie Foxx, he was one of the people who got offended up on the stage recently, right? Did you hear about that one? I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think I heard it. I don't know if I looked into it myself.
Yeah, so some guy has Tourette's and he says the N-word right there, and as they're presenting, and so it's like, oh. And then he goes off on this guy, even though everyone knew he had Tourette's, and apparently he made a movie called I Swear, and it's supposed to be really good, and I want to watch it now. With that being said, he did say the N-word, and everyone was now like upset at him for it, and he felt very embarrassed. He felt very bad about it. And so he left the building. But I'm now looking at this, I'm like, if Jamie Foxx is in the Epstein files, maybe he might want to get as much good PR as possible.
Yeah, definitely a good time to go under the radar and not draw attention.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I definitely would keep my mouth shut about anything that would be somewhat controversial. Okay, next. Donald Trump, the president, had parties that Mar-a-Lago called calendar girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in and Trump would auction them off. He measured the girls. I'm not going to say that part. The guests were elder men and included Elon Musk, Don Jr. Trump, Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump, where their attorney Alan Dershowitz was also there and attorney Bob Shapiro. We were taken in rooms, forced to give oral sex to Donald Trump, forced to allow them to penetrate us. I was 13 years old when Donald J. Trump raped me. Ghislaine Maxwell was also present. And it says no contact information provided. And that is the end of all the complaint summaries. And we got Bill Clinton and Trump. So this is the and there's just I'm trying to see anything else in here. But this is definitely the most disturbing one I've read. And I have seen it before. I haven't read through the whole thing before. And okay, it says, note, some of these individuals are reporting secondhand information. And then it redacts the entirety of all the names. So I want to know if they have other people who are corroborating what the victims are saying. Because so for all these victims, they had similar experiences, but it doesn't sound like they did the same experience together. And that can be a huge issue, because if you got a famous case that's out in the media, and you got people who just want money.
Yeah, you gotta double up. You gotta get your friends together, and you gotta testify together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you got other people who are claiming to have the same experience just for the sake of getting money, and that's not going to work out well for getting the actual evidence out. Oh, okay. I'm just looking a little bit further. They don't email each other. Like, that's something else. Is like when they did allow you to put in functions, they didn't email each other. Elon Musk did email. He emailed Epstein, but Donald Trump didn't. Well, he does have a lot. There's a lot more after Donald Trump became president as opposed to before. I would love to see some of the earlier ones. Ooh, this is from 2015. Bill Clinton. Oh, this is a funny article, and so it's probably a joke. It's article EFTA 00635819. 635819. But I don't. The tone of the call was informal, and Clinton never urged Trump to run, the four people said. Rather, they say Clinton sounded curious about Trump's move towards the presidential bid and told Trump that he was striking a chord with frustrated conservatives and was a rising force on the right. Hillary Clinton, Bill's wife, is the front runner for the Democratic nomination for president in 2013. So it's not a funny article. They just think there's something funny about this. It's from Peter Attia to Jeffrey Epstein. And they don't talk about it. But that's like the first one I've seen before Trump was president. I do find it interesting that either way 2016 went down, we were going to get a file person. And
yeah, that is something that I noticed as well.
So I'm going to say it again.
It's also crazy to think that, like, a part of me wonders, like, if all the controversy, if everything was, just kind of staged. Because
that's what I'm thinking.
The 2016 election, like, both sides were going at their candidates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, you had what was it? There was like some kind of like documentary or something where it was like Hillary's 2016 or something, and then you had the Trump's constant bombardment on like Saturday Night Lives, your late night TV shows in general.
Yeah.
And morning shows. Like there was no escaping a Trump joke for pretty much the past 4 years.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I think Donald Trump is the devil that went rogue at this point. The demon or whatever. He's the bad guy who went rogue. He left the other bad guys.
Oh yeah, like obviously they didn't want him to run for president, and it's kind of clear because the one good thing about his presidency for sure is the fact that he kicked this hornet's nest.
He did. And so we probably wouldn't have gotten.
We can at least be glad that we hired a useful idiot.
Did we? I don't know. We'll find out later. But Donald.
Oh yeah.
So remember how I told you that there's this guy called Mort Zuckerman? This is yes, he is involved with CBS. I believe he's the CEO. He's very rich. Hardly anyone knows who he is. I found an email. It says, looks like Donald and Mort are not friendly. It's from Richard Kahn to Jeffrey Epstein. So I wonder what that's all about. But those are two of the most commonly occurring names so far outside of Jeffrey Epstein's own assistants. I'm not seeing. Okay. Something about Donald Trump and 24 children. Palm Beach. EFTA 008000982. I'm going to stop with that one, and maybe we'll come back to it later, but that one is another intriguing one. So there's so many files. There's so many things people are making claims, and I don't like the fact that people like Leonardo DiCaprio are getting falsely accused of eating human flesh when there's absolutely no evidence to prove it. I don't like the fact that people are making certain claims and then they're not backing it up or they're not listing the file. I'm like, okay, just list the file and then list the context. Because what I'm hoping to get at some point is I'm hoping to get a file where it's like it's clearly trafficking and it's obvious. It's like, I'm going to bring this girl and you're going to have a good time with her. And apparently the only one that with the exception of food, it's like you got Snow White and stuff like that. But they are totally I think with the Snow White one, I think they're screwed. I don't think they can just say that was locker room talk. I don't think they can just simply say, hey, that wasn't real. Oh, by the way, before I close out, the file that I'm looking at, the one that is 008000982, it's 134 pages. This is a long one, so it's definitely not worthwhile to keep going and read that one. But I want to see what the 24 children were, though. No, the way they have it. No! Oh my goodness, okay. That's bad. We are Donald Trump and children. If Jeffrey Epstein were socializing at a church hall with Donald Trump and children, if he was socializing at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump and children, there would be a valid reason. There could be a valid assertion of a Fifth Amendment privilege, and that means the right to remain silent. There's more about association. Okay, it's not 24. 24 is actually the it goes so 24. When I saw 24 children, it actually is the page line, so it numbers the lines on the page. Did you ever socialize with Donald Trump in the presence of children? When did that occur? When did it occur? Who were the children? Were any of those children the alleged victims in these crimes? But we get the cut off in asking any of these questions when a Fifth Amendment privilege is asserted to the predicate questions. Let me keep freaking going. But in addition to that, is highly probative with regard to motive, that because the more sexual abuse of children in which Jeffrey Epstein engaged, the greater was his motive to attempt to find some way in which to avoid being held both civilly and criminally liable for those assaults. So it goes directly to the issue of malice, to the issue of motive. We got the... Oh, here's a question. Okay. Someone is asking Mr. Scarola, looks like, if he ever abused children. And because the court says, because of the overbreach of the question, the likelihood that I would allow it to be asked and answered, I cannot stop it from being asked, but the likelihood I would allow it to be answered over objection would be slight. Probably I would not. Therefore, I'm going to go ahead and sustain the objection as to the nature of that question. I understand the position taken, and it's actually a much closer issue than Mr. Link is suggesting, but at the same time, the breadth of the question is simply without bound because it is the outside of the realm of LM, EW, or Jane Doe. I'm going to disallow the question. Mr. Scarola, may I respond? I am not challenging the court's ruling in any respect. I understand that, but Your Honor made reference to objections as to form being preserved. An objection as to the overbreach of the question is an objection as to form. And that's the only observation I want to make for the record. So who's asking who? I think this is they're going over questions I can ask with a judge. Set multiple appointments for Epstein abusing children. He's probably just hanging out in Tel Aviv right now, laughing his butt off. That's not in the files. I just made that up about the Tel Aviv stuff. Yeah, so I don't... Who is the witness? I don't know. Let me go back up really quick. Let me go back up and read this really quick because the way they're wording this, although this is a real legal document, this whole thing is a real legal document, and it's in the Circuit Court of the 15th Judicial Circuit in and for Palm Beach County, Florida. Jeffrey Epstein is the plaintiff versus Scott Rothenstein individually, Bradley Edwards individually. You're the one, if you're filing a complaint, that's your way of saying I'm accusing these people. And the defendant is Scott Rosenstein and Bradley Edwards. So those are important names. Let me write those down. I don't know. So there's this guy called John Ziegler. I haven't listened to him in a hot minute, not since the shutdowns. But I remember him complaining about the shutdowns. He even went to town hall and he made a big stink about the shutdowns. And I was like, is that John? Is that John Ziegler? And someone responded, yes, it is John Ziegler. And so I was like, okay, right on. That was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and so anyways, he's a conservative, but he's always been on the Trump is bad train. So I'm wondering now if he's making, I might start listening to him again, because I can imagine he's doing something about going through the files. He's a very open and honest sort of deal kind of guy. He's one of the most honest and integral names in journalism. That's interesting. It looks like this is just a huge thing between they have appearances of other people. I'm getting tired, and we both gotta go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm ready to wrap this up.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you coming on the live stream. I don't think we had anyone watch while we were live streaming, but we were able to do more. I'm gonna look into like other ways we can have longer videos without having to worry about having it be live.
Yeah.
Because that'd be
definitely
easier.
Something to look into.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll talk to you later.
Yep, talk to you later.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.